2022. Did you make your goal sheet yet for this year? If focusing on self-care or taking more time for yourself is on that goal sheet, then this is a must listen to episode. April McCullough, General Manager of North Little Rock Athletic Club, shares what she has learned from making sure that she takes care of herself so she can take care of others. Listen along on the Fitness Business Podcast. Looking for an episode request? Check out episode number 399 with guest Corey Angelin. He talks about what big box gyms can learn from boutique gyms. This episode, can I just say, is on fire. Yes, on fire. So check it out. Number 399, Corey Angelin. Now, speaking of goal sheets, one of the podcast's goals for 2022 is to increase our iTunes reviews. However, in order to accomplish our goal, I need to recruit each and every one of you. So please go on iTunes and take 30 seconds to review an episode, a guest, or even one of our hosts. Thank you in advance. Dory Nugent here, your host of the Fitness Business Podcast, and today our guest, April McCullough, discusses why well-care is important in order for you to be the best possible leader to your team. April talks from a place where you can't pour from an empty cup, so take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. April's show will start in less than 2 minutes. First, a huge thank you to MyZone for supporting our show. MyZone has pioneered unique wearables with talking point technology that makes the difference. Reach more members of your community and keep them engaged for longer through motivation and gamification wherever they choose to work out. In the gym, at home, or outdoors, we're stronger together. Get in the zone at myzone.org. If you're looking to bring in something new to your gym, take a look at MyZone. Check them out at www.myzone.org.
Get your pen ready now for Keep Me's Fit Bizpiration.
What are your 3 top tips to being the best general manager that you can be?
Well, I definitely believe in we manage our tasks, but we lead people. I want people to watch and to see how things are done instead of trying to control them. So with that being said, manage tasks, not trying to control people, but lead them. Another tip is engage with people every day at different times. It's so easy for us to get caught up in our world of work. So we can sometimes forget about the people that we serve. So I try to engage with them in various capacities, whether it's a group fitness class, at the front desk, childcare, because our kids are members too. I try to engage with our members and a staff member each day. And then the third tip is to add value to people. I want people to know that they are valued. And if they don't get that anywhere else, I want them to feel that when they come into the club. So manage tasks, lead people, engaging with people, and adding value to people.
Next week, Ryan Snod graces us with his presence. Ryan's expertise is all things video marketing, and he talks about topics such as the biggest mistakes gyms make with fitness videos and the 5 types of videos gyms should be using. After April's interview, I'll introduce you to Ryan, and you'll hear why you need to come back to hear his expert advice.
OneFitStop is modern fitness studio software built for the growing multi-location studio, providing scheduling, client management, programming, payment collection tools, and more that will set your business up to grow. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com or click on the link in today's show notes.
Let's transition into this week's interview with April McCullough. April McCullough is our guest today. I'm so excited to have her here. She is coming to us all the way from Arkansas. She is the general manager of North Little Rock Athletic Club. April, welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dory. Once again, I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yes, you have been the general manager there, I believe, since 2018.
Actually, I started here in 2018. I became manager in 2020, right at the start of the pandemic as we know it.
We're actually going to talk about self-care and, being a general manager. And, you truly believe that in order for you to be the best general manager for everybody, whether it's your members or your staff, you need to be your best. Mm-hmm. So I just would like to ask you to start off is, what is self-care to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, it's a great loaded question. Self-care to me is more than focusing on your outward appearance. It is well-care. It is making sure that you are full, because we all know you can't pour from an empty cup. So you've got to plug in, be able to invest in yourself and more than just physical activity. It is the emotional, it's the mental, it's financial, it's spiritual. It is the total person. So you have to make sure that you are investing in those other areas and making sure that you're well in each of those areas before you can, give to anybody else.
Now, I'm going to steal a quote that you just used. I absolutely loved it. And you said you can't pour from an empty cup. And taking from that, I'd like to ask you, why is it important, like more now than ever, to make sure that you're focusing on well-care?
Oh, yeah. So now more than ever, Dory, I think we're seeing that just being focused on one area of your life is not enough to sustain you during moments of crisis. So I believe that in order for you to maintain and to continue, you have to tap into those other areas. And it's really just pouring into yourself before you can ever give to anybody. It's being full at the beginning. And we've learned that over this past year, right? It's just hard to give when you're exhausted, when you're burnt out, when your fatigue is at an all-time high. It's hard to serve people and to give of yourself. So we have got to be intentional about pouring back into us at the beginning.
What I think is so important about that statement that you just made is being the leader as the general manager. Your entire staff is looking to you. They're going to look to you to see how you react to stuff, how you handle stuff. And I agree, if your cup is empty, it's very hard to react and respond to things in a positive manner, which, as you know, is again, with your staff looking at you and members looking at you, they're going to react to your reaction.
That's right. And that's something that I definitely learned during this past year is I can't walk into the club or any atmosphere with all of my personal things overwhelming me. It's got to be some type of compartmentalization where I'm able to say, okay, I'm showing up now as my full self right here, right now. And you're right. They're looking to me to be able to do that. The members don't want to know that I'm overwhelmed and burnt out when I come to work. So I've got to be able to show up as my best self at all times.
And I agree, because like you said, people coming in, they're coming to the gym to get refueled from their job. And they don't want to walk in and see the GM
or any other member or any other staff member burnt out, overwhelmed. And then our response is very short and triggered by something that they say. So we definitely have to make a point to get to that place where we get fueled and be able to give to the members when they come in, because you're right. They are looking for something when they come in from their jobs, from their homes. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you're coming here for something more than what you're getting at home. And so we have to make sure that we're able to present that to them.
What a great example that you're setting. You mentioned about maintaining focus. As a general manager, and many of our audience out there, they are GMs as well, or business owners. What are your personal habits to help you stay focused and continue to perform at a high standard there at the club?
Well, you definitely, I have a routine. It takes a lot of discipline to show up as your best self. And one of those things that I do is I try to, Sunday nights, I try to do a weekly planning so that I can focus on each day as the needs arise during those days. So I prepare the best I can at night. And just like many, many people who are into fitness regimens, I try to eat well. I try to get a good night's rest. Of course, exercise to stay balanced and healthy and strong. But the one thing that I do in the mornings that I try to use to set my day is I have a devotion time where I'm focused right then and there on where I am. And that's my time to gather myself and to know, again, what my purpose is. And it exceeds what we think it is. So I have to go back to that each morning.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know who Luke Carlson is. He's a leader in the industry. He's also been a guest here on the podcast. And then he talks a lot about leaders taking clarity breaks. And that's just X amount of time, however long it may be, whether it's an hour or 2 hours of just getting outside of the club, maybe still continuing to work, but maybe you're sitting at a coffee shop or maybe you go to a park. And I've always admired that. He refers to it as clarity break. But
yeah, I think that's great. I didn't know that was the name for it, but I love that. I love to get outside of the club, and sometimes I just take a walk around the building. Like I love being outside. So just that break to clear my head.
How do you teach your team to have similar habits? Because again, members want to come in, and whether they're working with a personal trainer or they're taking a group fitness class, your team has to have the same habits as well. So how do you teach them to incorporate those into their day?
Great question. So they're not able to see many of my disciplines because, like I said, I do most of that at home at night, but I do take emotional check-ins with my staff, and I will gather them to the side and ask them, how are you doing? What's going on? Is there anything I can help with? And at that time is when we will talk about ways that we can be healthier, or ways that we could get more clarity, or decide what's the next best step, or where do we go from here? I mean, it's just the time for them to check in with me and me check in with them. And we talk about ways that we can be better.
I hear a lot of leaders talk about the Sunday night planning. I've heard that multiple times, and starting to think maybe I really need to start to incorporate that, because I'm hearing that over and over again. So let's just talk about, Sunday night, you've got your plan. Most of us usually have high aspirations that we're going to have a good week and things are going to go smoothly. But every once in a while, we get thrown that curveball, whether it's at work or it's in life. How do you reset and how do you refocus just to make sure that doesn't kind of throw you off for the rest of the week or for the rest of the day? Any good tips or advice?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to knowing why you're here. It's starting with why. When you get thrown that curveball, because you will, you've got to know your purpose and know why you are where you are. And you got to stay focused that way. And to me, it's always going back to your personal mission. And you can clearly define what that mission is early on so that you're not thrown off of the boat. Like you really have to stay centered, focused if you're going to stay on task, because otherwise everything will start coming at you and you can easily be swayed to ride that train, whether it's a member who comes in with an issue or, family issues. You really have to stay committed to the mission.
You're a GM. That's a tough job. It's a big hat to wear, but you also wear the hat of mom and you also wear the hat as wife. Mm-hmm. How do you personally balance those three large roles?
And large they are. I have to make time for each one. And I show up and I want to be the best GM and I want to be the best mom and I want to be the best wife. And the way that I do that is I want to be fully present when I'm doing those roles. So there's going to be some overlap at times, but when I'm at home being mom, I just want to be mom. And when I am being wife, whether we're on a date or we're sitting in the car together waiting on the kids, I just want to be that. And so I try to carve out time and make time for each one. And I don't want to mix it all up and try to multitask those roles. But, sometimes it comes where I have to, but I really want to show up and be my best self at each one. So I'm intentional about when I'm mommying and when I'm wifing and when I'm managing so that I can give it its due diligence.
Do you believe in the term work-life balance?
I do. And I'm not saying I have it perfected, but I do believe that there is a such thing. And if not, one thing is going to get the short end of the stick. So there has to be a balance in life with work and your personal life. It just has to be.
Being a brand new GM, and obviously I know we laughed about it, but in all seriousness, coming in at one of the most challenging times in the interview, for all the other GMs out there that maybe it happened to them as well. They came in either at the start of the pandemic, middle of the pandemic, or maybe they just recently have gotten hired. Mm-hmm. What advice have you learned over the last year and a half that you could pass on to somebody else that is new into the GM role?
So I have a big three that I have been kind of settling on as a new GM. And one of them is to manage my task and lead my people. So I don't want to control people. I want to lead them and show them how things can be, but I don't want to manage them. I want people to decide on their own if they want to move forward. So that's been one. The second thing, and one of the goals that I had during the past year, was to engage with people. I want to take time and be intentional about engaging with them, the members and the staff. So once a day, I try to engage with the staff, and I'd make time to go down to the front desk to engage with the members every day, just because that's one of the things that goes back to the personal mission statement. Is it's people that we're, wanting to be intentional about. So engaging with them. And then the third thing is adding value to people. I want to make them know that they are valued. And whether they get that from here or outside of here, I want them to feel valued when they come to work or feel valued when they come to work out. So all three of these things deal with people. And that's really what this is about, is people.
So I had a guest on, a former guest, Derek Depre. He was a general manager. And one of the pieces of advice that he gave is very parallel to what you gave. And that was, he made a list in his office of every single group fitness class, personal trainer, every aspect of the club. And he made sure that in a month, he got around to all those different classes, booked a training session with every personal trainer. He said, so that way he felt like he could connect, kind of have an informal meeting with that person, but still being effective and also allowing that time to help clear his mind. So if he was involved in a personal training session, he was getting trained. Mm-hmm. It was good for him, but it was also a nice chance to talk with the trainer while they maybe had a 30-minute session. One of the things you would like to do is manage your tasks. And I know all of our listeners out there can't see what I can see, but I have to chuckle because it looks like you're very clearly managing your tasks, because behind you, so FBP family, behind April is a large whiteboard, and you have a lot of tasks on that whiteboard. And you told me before we started recording was the fact that you like to keep that list, and it just kind of is a good checklist for you to keep.
It is. It's we thrive on checklists, right, as humans, but it's so funny because I try not to do that to myself, but it just ends up being that way because you can't keep up with everything. So I made that checklist this weekend, and we've been working through that list all week, and it's good. But it doesn't mean everything gets done. It's just there for a visual.
Well, everybody here at the Fitness Business Podcast wishes you the best of luck for the upcoming year as you take your club and move it forward, as hopefully we all get out of this COVID and the pandemic, so that you can kind of get that club back to running the way it probably used to run before COVID.
Yes. And we want to do that. We want to move into the future and be the best club that we can be. And we may or may not be that same club that we were before COVID, and that's okay. But we're open to where we're going, and I'm excited about where we're going.
What a way to start off the year. First, Dre Baldwin, and now April McCullough. We are certainly starting off 2022 with some amazing guests. April, thank you so much for being a first-time guest on the Fitness Business Podcast. Now, for all of you out there listening, if you have any follow-up questions for April, head on over to our show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com for her contact information. Or if you let us help you, if you subscribe to the show notes, then they're just emailed directly to you. Now, how do you subscribe, you ask? Well, head to the show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. In 30 seconds, I'll introduce you to our video marketing expert, Ryan Snod, who is next week's guest.
Did you know that the active ingredient in most disinfecting wipes has well-documented lung, skin, and reproductive health concerns? That active ingredient is called a quaternary ammonium compound, or a quat, not necessarily something you'd want in a health and wellness facility. VaporFresh disinfecting gym wipes avoid all quats and instead use an innovative citric acid chemistry to disinfect. Even with this greener chemistry, VaporFresh is still EPA registered to disinfect 99.9% of surfaces. VaporFresh is trusted by some of the most premier gyms and college rec centers nationwide. With 1,200 wipes per roll and 4 rolls per case, they offer an unbeatable value per wipe. Order today at vaporfresh.com or Amazon.
Quickfire 5.
Welcome, Ryan Snod, owner of Snod Media Group. Let's take a listen to what is one of his all-time favorite reads and his 20-second elevator pitch on why you need to set a calendar reminder for his show coming up next week. It is time for our quick fire 5 questions with next week's guest, Ryan Snod. He is the owner of Snod Media Group. Ryan, welcome to Quick Fire 5.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, I am so excited. Are you ready for your fun questions so everybody gets to know you?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, first one. What is a life lesson you learned from the pandemic?
One of my biggest life lessons I learned during the pandemic was to appreciate what you have. I think a lot of people took a lot for granted up until 2020, myself included. And it just comes down to appreciating what you have. If you have your health, if you have your business, if you have an opportunity to help people or be supportive, I think that was a really big lesson. Also that, because I did end up getting COVID, but I obviously got over it and better now. But Cheetos have the texture of packing peanuts when you can't taste or smell them. So that's another thing I learned during the pandemic.
I like that one. That's my favorite thing right there. Cheetos taste like packaging peanuts. Love it. All right, here we go. If you could play a character in any movie, what character would it be?
Oh gosh, I'm such a huge movie buff. This question's really hard. Used to really love watching action movies all the time as a kid. So in that vein, I would probably say probably Bruce Willis from Die Hard. That's like just a classic like hero guy. He's trying to save himself, his family, his career, and he's trying to stop the dude that plays Severus Snape from being a bad guy. It's pretty cool. So I would have to say Die Hard, Bruce Willis.
And please complete this sentence. Sunday morning, you can find me
at either the dog park or the gym. That's where I usually hang out on Sunday mornings.
All right. And what is your number one book recommendation for all of our FBP family?
Oh, great question. My goal was to read a book every month this year. So I've read a lot this year of business and personal finance books. I would say best one for a business owner, somebody in this space, would probably be Profit First. Great read just on how to structure your finances as a business, how to pay your profit and save for taxes and all that boring stuff, but very important stuff.
Okay. And finally, here is your chance. This is your big elevator pitch, telling all of our listeners out there why they should come back next week to hear your episode.
Absolutely. So we're going to really get into this here in a bit. I think this is a huge topic people need to be thinking about. Video marketing for gym owners, fitness businesses, super important stuff. I'm going to be covering the 5 must-have videos that you need for your fitness business. Also, how to stand out with video, how to structure your videos for conversion, and how to avoid wasting time on the videos that don't matter for your business, and how to get the most out of what you have to actually get sales and see an ROI with what you're posting out there.
All right, everybody, you heard it right from Ryan Snod, the owner of Snod Media Group. Come on back next week when we talk about videos and marketing.
Hey, Fitness Business Podcast family, Sarah Pellegrino here, your host of The Value Proposition. 2022 is here, friends, and boy, do I have a stellar lineup of monthly episodes just for you. Each month, I'm bringing you an insightful conversation with a different supplier so you can learn the value they bring to the industry above and beyond their product or service. Don't miss this month's episode of The Value Proposition going live this Friday. You can download anywhere you listen to your podcast or from our website. You can watch the vodcast on our YouTube channel or from our website as well, fitnessbusinesspodcast.com.
I look forward to all of you joining me next week as Ryan Snod talks about video marketing ideas for 2022. Don't miss this show or any future shows. Subscribe on your favorite podcast player or head on over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to our founding partner, Active Management. Our partners, Keep Me, MyZone, Discover Strength, Tribe Team Training, and One Fit Stop. Also, our advertisers, Rex Roundtables, MX Metrics, Vapor Fresh, and ISSA. We believe what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but woven into the lives of others.